Lauren the Warp Spinster here. Welcome to my channel where we cut and sew and see what happens, which is exactly what we're doing today again. These pieces, well, these two pieces I'm pretty happy with. We're revisiting what I started last week, which is using bits and pieces from another quilt I'm making, some leftovers, some miscuts, and some offcuts, and doing some improv with them. This piece, I'm pretty happy with that going into this curve, but I will need more with it. That might do up to there, but then I will need something down here. So basically I'm happy with those two at the moment. This one needs something more. I don't want that corner square there for one thing. Maybe another curve like this one. Maybe a more diagonal cut. I don't know for sure yet, so we'll give that one some more thought. And I have these two miscuts, which are perfectly fine pieces, just not the right size for what I needed them to be. So I want to think about these two as well. I mean, that's a pretty obvious one, but it's also kind of blah. Now I could put those together and then run a couple of curves through it, which would be consistent with what I'm doing elsewhere in running curves through things. One of the things I've discovered is, as I start putting pieces together, just to kind of see how they might look, I notice that there are themes, usually inadvertent, and I think, oh, that's really cool. I want to do some more of that. And I'm finding that with one that I'm working on my design wall. And let me show you that. I think you can see what I mean. The lighting here isn't optimum, but I think I can show you what I mean. Anyway, these are pieces that are left over from another quilt that I made, the Greco Deco. And I couldn't just do away with them. So I have done a couple of extra pieces, and then I have some down here that just are not fitting at this point. Colors are a little bit different as I ran out of some of the colors. So one of the thing that I noticed about this one, I have laid these out 160 ways from Sunday. And this is where I'm at the moment. And what I noticed as I'm looking at it is this bit here, this curve and coming down with this curved piece up here. So I'm going to try to sort of do that here just to mirror it from the other side. And I know I have to balance out the green. It needs some green down here, and I'll get to that. But I just like how that curve goes up into a straight, and then over here it goes down into a straight. So I've just kind of got it folded back there, so that's supposed to be a curve there. And then I've got lots of other curves with splices through them, because you know I like curves and I like splices, so I guess a lot of my quilts are going to have that. So that's the kind of thing that I look for. And so this piece I'll probably want to mirror somewhere else, maybe a couple other places. Doesn't have to be the same size, doesn't have to have those 1, 2, 3, 4 divisions in it, but that segmented curve I really like. So we'll see how it goes. I'm liking this much better than any of the things I did before this. Lots of choices. There are serendipitous things, like here I was able to match up this blue. I didn't plan this. These are just two separate pieces. I was able to match up that blue line so it continues down into another piece. And I like that a lot. So I keep pointing to my camera instead of to the wall. I would like to somehow maybe get this to flow into something else. So I might need to put a white strip in here somewhere and, you know, kind of bring it down here. I don't know yet, but I try to do some of that flow, and you can see a little bit of it here, just barely, with that piece kind of flows through. So we'll see. Anyway, my point is, I'm still pondering this, as you can tell, is mirroring that kind of thing. And there may be another one where it's going sort of the opposite direction. I guess they're both kind of vertical, but have the longer piece, the straight piece going this direction and then curving into a shorter piece there. But I just like that effect, and that's what I'm saying. I find themes, find something that I like, and then I can add on to that with pieces that I make in the future. So, because I actually have 2 more miscuts, I probably have more somewhere, then I can continue. This will be a unifying feature of it. Oh, there's another one there. A unifying feature of that. So I could do more of much the same thing and have it elsewhere in the quilt. Maybe I'd have some purple in there. I will be having some yellow coming once I do the next block in the quilt I'm making. And maybe this time I'll make a curve here. And what happens if I do that there? If I curve that though, hard to curve it, and then somehow get that piece in there. That might be kind of fun, and end up curving that piece too. And then I've got more space where I can do more curves, and then this might come down like that. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and stitch these together, and then I can, as a part of that, round that off. There's another piece to use somewhere else, and then start thinking about putting some curves through there, and maybe another one down here depending on what I decide to do. And I may decide that I want to mimic this again just because it will create some balance and continuity there. All right, so in fact, I'm going to do that before I change my mind about it. And I could make it a different kind of curve though. And I've got a selvage piece there that I have to look out for. And that means whatever piece, oh, that's kind of a cute little piece right there. Isn't that cute? You may be able to tell that I love doing this. Just love this. Now that's a fun shape. I'm liking that. Maybe I don't want to curve that bit. What will I put in here? I might do, oh, there's another one. Yeah, apparently messed up an entire batch of that. So if I do just I don't know if I have a long enough piece for that at this point. But I could do as I did here and piece 2 things together to make it. And maybe I would do that with, say, a pink. And that's the curve. This is not going to be a wide piece here, as I'm thinking. It's going to be more like this. Because I want to bring this bold print into the pieces, but I don't want it to be overwhelming. So that's all your eye sees. There's a big chunk of this. I love this. I wish I'd bought 5 bolts of it when it came out. The other thing I could do would be to do the solid color in there and then have a piece of, well, here's another one of those. Cool. Yeah, those are the ends. I mean, I know where they're coming from. I know where all of these are coming from. Oh, this might give us a little better idea of how that might look. And then maybe another piece of this. That comes around here. So I've got a little contrast between them. I could do a little black piece, but then there's no contrast there. So, I'm not ready to cut that yet, I've decided, because I really like this shape. All right, I'm going to figure out a way to do a strip here. And with the way curves go, I'm going to need it to be wide enough for me to, I will have more of these once I do more blocks, so not too worried about that. So I need a piece that is wide enough that I can get all the way around that curve. And then I'll still have some little bits left over, so that will be good. All right, so that's what I'm going to do. This is a pretty abrupt change between here, but it's going to be a very narrow curved strip, so you aren't going to be able to really see that there's an abrupt change there. Unless you're really looking for it, which, you know, people are welcome to do, I guess. So I'm going to piece that and then just follow my usual process for doing curves to insert that in there. And then I don't know what I'm going to do for the other part of the curve. It may be a black piece. It just goes around there. Not sure, because that seems very close to that, but we'll see once I get this finished. Who knew that I was going to like that shape? I'll be back. In the end, I decided to not do such a narrow strip in here, because when I laid some black up against it, I liked how it sort of came to a point there. So this looks a little more abrupt than I might like, but then again, it might end up having strips running through it, so it's all right. I mean, I know it's abrupt, but it's a pretty wild print, so if you don't know it's there, perhaps you won't notice, perhaps you will, but so be it. Now I'm going to trim this up here because I'm pretty sure that's the way I want it, and it's bothering me to have that hanging out there. So there's another piece we can work with, and I think I do maybe want to put, do I want straight? Because I do have some straight pieces, and this one's a little bit curved, but that does not bother me any. I could do a strip that's going to be pretty marginally not long enough. I could do more purple, and then, well, some of this is going to get trimmed off anyway because it's a selvage. And, you know, that's the beauty of improv. You don't have to have particular sizes and lengths. You can just adjust them to what you need. So now I could have a purple piece that is running across that. Or maybe I just want them up here and just leave that on its own without splitting it, because I kind of like it. Not gonna lie, I kind of like it. I think that's what I'll do. And when I said purple piece, I immediately thought of the Purple People Eater song, which may be dating myself, but I saw the thing coming out of the sky. All right, I'm going to do another curve here. And then I think I might do a pink curve through there. And I've linked I put the link for my curves video down in the discussion area. All right, so I'm going to do another purple one and another pink one. And I might just leave this for now. I don't know. Maybe I'll do another curve down here. It's uncertain at this point, but I know I want those, so I will do those. Here is the new piece, untrimmed. I'm about to trim it. Now this could be a curve, and anywhere I have a choice, well, not anywhere. Sometimes when I have a choice of cutting straight or cutting a curve, I will cut a curve because I don't know what I want to do with it, and cutting the curve still leaves me the option to do a straight cut there. So I'm going to cut a curve there. So far, curves are the name of the game here. This one I'm going to cut straight because I really like that contrast of the straight with that curve. All right. Now we have another piece. This one, again, I'm going to do a curve because it still leaves me with two different options for that piece. All right, now we can think about what we want to do there. I do want to have a fair amount of negative space here, which is black in this case. Oh, that's kind of fun, isn't it? To match up that curve with that curve. Of course, I can change that curve to match that one better. Oops. Kind of like that. What do you think? And these tie in. Let's do a little bit of straight bit here. Maybe, maybe not. Don't know. But that is a possibility there. The curve fits really nicely already right here. Then we've got this whole business to deal with. But we could also add a strip of black in there so that we can, let me just throw some in there. If I can find some that aren't attached to anything already. And see how it would look if we did that. Are you free? Free agent. Here we are. It's kind of interesting. I might pull it in a little closer. If I do that, I probably want this piece up here so I can trim that or curve it. That's not bad, but I need something to balance this out somewhere. And well, I've got this piece. This may not end up being how it is, of course, but that's kind of got an interesting sweep to it. So sweep may be our theme here. We're just sweeping all over the place. And I'm not wild about that. I don't know why, but I'm not. I do still like this. And there will be more pieces that I make, so they don't have to go together, but that's a possibility. We'll see what happens with other pieces, of course. Now I have more of these to do. And I'm not sure what I want to do with this. I might leave it do another curve up through there, or do a double curve. So I'll have this piece straight. I'll do a curve here, but it will also have a narrow pink strip in between it before I do that curve, or that will be the curve. So that gives me an opportunity to have some more of this going into the quilt, which it's going to need some to balance out a bit. I'm not suggesting that's where it's going to go because I don't like it there, but it gives you an idea of trying to balance out what I've got going on here. So, okay, now to me this looks like collar, and these are the buttons going down the front. Odd. Okay, so let me try that. It's not like I don't have several of those pieces to work with, you know. Oops, too many pieces now to put together. line them up. I should just cut some more black. I have plenty of black. And I want that to be more like that, which gives a different kind of curve, which is nice. Don't know where this one's going to end up. But let's see what I can do with this just in the black section. Put some things through there. There's not a lot of room to do 3 of them, but maybe I'll just do 1 and then it will be added on somewhere. Okay, I really like that very narrow pink strip in there along with the black. And I kind of like this piece as it is now, but I think it's too much of this. Now it's possible I could put it somewhere where it balanced out something else. I mean, we've got a fair amount here. But I could also go ahead and finish up with what I was going to do, which is to add that black piece back in. Tuck that under. And I think that's what I'm going to do. What do you think? I'm going to leave it this way for now. Excuse me, just as a model. Oh, of course, we always have this option. We must never forget this option, right? Which will, oh, needs to be on the black. And it might not be, we'll call that centered, but have it a little off center. It would be kind of nice to have one larger one over here. So I think there probably will be some circles in the mix. Almost certainly will be circles in the mix. Anyway, that gives us a couple more pieces using up what we had. I'm almost thinking I want some more black over on this side. All right, I can find another free agent here. Oh yeah, oh yeah. All right, I'm going ahead with that. Gonna do that curve here. Add a little more black over here. We've got some black there. I like it. The thing is, this looks like 1-2 pieces cutting through that. What if we did, ooh, could we do a little tiny bit of this? Running through it over here. Yeah, it's almost getting to be too much. I can do that later if I want to. I like that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do this curve and then sew the free agent over here. So now we have this piece, and in this case, it's like an opening up or a blossoming, which is perhaps another theme that could happen here. I don't know. And then, of course, we could put, this poor circle's getting pretty ragged now. Or it could be that this will go up against a piece of black, for example, and then this comes up at the top. Or down there somewhere. So all kinds of choices here, but I like this. This is why I like improv so much, because you don't know where you're going, but at some point sometimes there is that miraculous moment where it's like, oh yes, that's it. And that's what that piece is. And when I got a different angle on this and did the curves, then there's a part of that there too. And you know, that's not bad either. This is kind of a funky join there, but it's not a horrible thing, is it? Kind of like it. Now it's a bird in flight. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just just playing. And I don't need to take up all your time with my playing. But I do like these two pieces. In fact, I like all of these pieces. So I'm pretty happy with how this is going. And again, because I've had limits on what I can use with these. I mean, this is the size that I'm working with, aside from the black, which I can sort of freely do whenever I want, because I order white and black by the bolt. Okay, I think that's going to be it for today. I feel pretty good about what we did. Sometimes improv is slow going. Sometimes it's fairly quick. And today actually wasn't especially a long session. Often the real thought process and time issue comes when you're trying to figure out how to put all of them together and how to transition. And we've talked about that, so you know that. And some of us just keep thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking instead of just saying, that's it, let's go, which is what I have to do eventually anyway. So thanks again for joining me. Please remember to like and subscribe. And next week, maybe doing more of this. We'll see. I'm still working on the quilt behind me. And of course I have the black and white one to do as well. I don't think I showed you here what the autumn colored quilt ended up looking like. It's not quilted yet, but I'll see if I can find a photo and slot it in here. Whatever we do next week, I hope that I will see you then. In the meantime, be well, be safe, be happy, be quilting. Got to find a good contrast there. Peace out.